Hello, welcome to another reading vlog. This week is a fun one because we are tackling the romance genre with not one, not two, but three different books that I think will provide quite the range in reading. It'll showcase maybe a bit of different writing styles, and I'm hoping it'll help me get a sense of my own taste and hopefully for you as well, kind of explore what the genre has to offer. So we're kicking off this video with A Perfect Vintage by Chelsea Fagan. This is kind of our standard contemporary summer romance, which is just kind of a tried and true staple in the genre. So it should just be a guaranteed good time, I'm hoping, and kind of give us a baseline, because from there we're diving into Persuasion by Jane Austen, a literary romance classic that was actually published in 1818. Austen is known for her kind of satirical style romances that center families and society in Regency era England. She's also known as the queen of slow burn romance with zero spice. Lastly, we are checking out a maybe slightly more divisive contemporary romance, that's Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, who is an author that has kind of developed this almost cult-like following for her fanfic-inspired writing style and female protagonists that work in STEM. In this novel, Hazelwood provides an author's note that lets us know this is her most erotic novel to date, but I've also seen plenty of reviews that mention this is also her most emotional novel to date, so I think that there's some promise here. So that is the plan. I will be popping in to provide some updates as I go through these and make progress throughout the week. And I hope you enjoy coming along. Okay, I just got back from my run. It's Saturday and it is a raw, rainy, dreary day. It's a little bit busier of a day than I had wanted. I was hoping to get in a little bit more reading today, but I did get a lot of reading last night and I'm actually at 50% of A Perfect Vintage. So we are making progress there. I have to shower, eat breakfast, do some grocery shopping, and then that's it for today. So I'm hoping to finish this by tomorrow, and then I can get started on Persuasion at some point tomorrow. And I think tomorrow's gonna be a pretty heavy reading day, but today we are getting things done, doing a little bit of maintenance for the week. Perfect Vintage is going so-so. I'm still liking the writing, still liking the setting, but the characters are starting to frustrate me a little bit. The developments are happening with like more of an age gap romance than I expected. So I don't know. I don't think I'm liking that too much, but we'll see. I'm very invested in seeing how things play out though. Like there's a lot of drama. I'm definitely invested. My current hyperfixation breakfast. And the key ingredient, which is spicy chili crisp. So good. coming to you once again, having totally overestimated how much I would be able to read within the weekend. And it has been a productive couple of days. Got all my laundry done. I'm done with my productivity stuff. I'm done with my chores. I'm done with all the things. I even went for my little mental health walk. I had my social calls with my friends, and I can now just spend the rest of the evening with this book. So I've got a little over 100 pages left at the 65% mark. I have to say, I'm not like totally invested in the couple in this. I really just don't care if they end up together by the end. I am really curious to see what happens. And also, there's a lot happening in the story outside of just the main pairing. Like, there's a side romance, there is an actual like plot with the chateau being renovated and getting ready to open as a hotel. So there's things happening, and there's other side characters that are interesting as well. And I'm just interested in the story as a whole. It is a really fun, engaging read. This isn't like my favorite pairing where I'm like drooling over the couple and, you know, rooting for them. It's almost like a soap opera. Can't look away and want to see what happens because everything's so messy and dramatic. So I'm going to settle in and try to knock out these last 100 pages, and hopefully it's a fun time. It has been so far, so. You mean? I finished A Perfect Vintage. This felt like kind of like a trashy TV show. I really enjoyed reading it. While I was in the midst of reading it, I kept wanting to pick it back up and see what would happen. It was just a lot of fun, honestly. However, now that I'm done with it, I feel like it really left no impact whatsoever. The writing, the story, nothing really stood out. I did enjoy my time in the setting, and I think if I had to compare it to anything, maybe it would be most similar to the show Emily in Paris. However, I like that show better because it actually makes me laugh, where this book did not. I would recommend it if you're looking for maybe a more of like a palate cleanser. I think the setting definitely delivered. Also, if you like a little bit of family drama, there's definitely a fair bit of that. But it wasn't too serious. It wasn't too funny. It wasn't overly romantic. It wasn't anything too strongly. Very safe. It's a very safe option to read. Other than that, I did pick up Persuasion, so I'm a few chapters in. I've read 2 other books by Jane Austen before, and every time the first few chapters are so boring. There's just so much info dumping, and in this one, there's literally no dialogue for the first 2 chapters, but I trust this author, and I know that once the characters start interacting more, we will start to have a little bit more fun and things will start getting more interesting. So I'm having faith and plowing through the first few chapters for now until it starts getting a little bit more engaging. My plan is to pop on the audiobook and work on my puzzle tonight, just see how far we can get.
Chapter 8. From this time, Captain Wentworth and Anne Elliot were repeatedly in the same circle. They were soon dining in company together at Mr. Musgrove's, for the little boy's state could no longer supply his aunt with a pretence for absenting herself, and this was but the beginning of other dinings and other meetings.
Okay, I am about just over a third of the way through of Persuasion. Also, I finished my Zelda puzzle, which is in the background over here. That puzzle took me nearly a year. We don't need to get into it, but I just thought you should know. So I am finding that the story's picking up. I think it started to pick up around chapter 5 or 6. I'm really liking this pairing a lot, actually. I like that they have history already, and there's already a fair amount of angst that I think is being portrayed quite well. Also, really appreciating the audio because for some reason with Austen's writing, I just do not pick up on tone of voice when I'm just reading the words on the page. When I hear it on the audio, it just all kind of clicks and makes a lot more sense. So really appreciating that. I also picked up Not in Love. So I'm a few chapters in of this one as well. I think it's around 17% in. This is the first one we've come across so far in this video that has dual point of view, which is hands down my favorite way to read a romance. I love seeing both perspectives and seeing what both parties are thinking. So we get a couple chapters from Rue, our female main character, and then a couple chapters from Eli, our male main character, and that is just so much more fun to me than just seeing one person's point of view. The only other thing I want to mention so far is that there are these like little quirky expressions that the side characters will say that just take me out. They just are so bizarre. It's not happening so much that it's taking away from my overall experience yet. So I'm just hoping that it kind of subdues once we get further into the story and we're more focused on the actual romance. I think it's being used more as like a characterization thing, like making the side characters seem like they have more personality. So I guess it's fine. I just hope they don't keep doing that because it's like these weird little expressions that just feel like so unnatural. Like people just don't talk like that. So my plan for today is to just focus on Persuasion. It's a rest day. So I think I'm just going to take a nice long walk and listen to more of the audiobook. That's the plan. All right, good morning. I finished reading Persuasion last night. A couple of thoughts that I had that came up a couple of times. One, it felt like I was reading about middle schoolers sometimes, like the way that they socialized. They would go for walks, they would hang out, and it just felt like reminded me of the way that I socialized when I was in middle school. The other thought I kept having was this is some of the juiciest gossip that somebody has ever told me. So it was entertaining. I can say that. I didn't see some of the kind of twists coming that came up in the story. In terms of my overall feelings on the novel, the characters were rather delightful. I appreciated how they acted maturely through their situation. I do think that the male lead could have benefited from a little more screen time. We had a lot of conversations about him, maybe not quite enough conversations with him. I really appreciated how the miscommunication didn't drag on unnecessarily because that is a common frustration in this genre. While this was a story based on a long-standing miscommunication, I do think it was executed in a way that never felt tiresome because we were exploring so many other things happening for Anne and her different relationships throughout the whole novel. It wasn't only Anne and Wentworth, it was Anne and her friends, Anne and other potential interests, Anne and her family. We got to see other relationships. So it wasn't so bogged down by this one one miscommunication. But yeah, overall, I felt like that was a really refreshing way to handle miscommunication in a romance novel. But what I think really sets this apart from other romance books is Austen's witty observations about human nature, which she executes this through both the narrator as well as a few of the side characters. I like how she articulated things, felt absolutely super relevant to read today, as I'm sure it was when it was published 200 years ago. Wow, 200 years ago, yeah. I enjoyed this one a lot. I really liked it. And that is book number 2 complete. I am going to have a couple of reading sprints today, and we're gonna crack on with Not in Love. I'm around 62%, page 238. So far, I just have to call out that this is, I'm trying to think of how to express this, because I know some people are put off when there's too many explicit scenes or too much physical descriptions. I've seen complaints about the book saying that people aren't interested when the characters hook up too early on in the book. And I think they hook up, I don't know, a third of the way through. I honestly don't remember. But there's just so much more intimacy in this book than even the other 2 books that I've read in this video. They're exploring trust and boundaries and getting to understand each other. It's just so much more intimate. I am way more engaged in this couple. Like, I'm rooting for them. I want to see them, work things out, and I'm way more invested. There is still so much tension as well, even though they got together early on. There's so many other ways to build tension and develop a relationship within a romance novel, aside from whether or not the characters are going to sleep together or not. That initial hookup is just one part of what can be a very fully fleshed out relationship. I'm gonna keep reading, keep thinking about this and how I wanna try to express this. I'll probably pop back tomorrow with a final review. I have finished Not in Love. This was a bit more in line with the contemporary romance that I am used to reading typically. The strength of this novel was definitely the male lead, Eli. He is just so smitten with the main character, Rue, right from the beginning, which you could maybe argue was a little bit insta-lusty, but I think that there's just something so satisfying about reading about a guy that is all in on a relationship from early on. I enjoyed this a lot right up until maybe the 90% mark. I think that it just got a bit too cheesy for my taste, and I did have a few nitpicks about the main character, but overall this was a really solid romance story. I was really invested in the couple from early on and rooting for them, wanting to see them get their happily ever after, more so than I did with any of the other books that we read in this video. That does bring us to our compare and contrast portion of today's video. All of these did have really strong love interests. I think they were all very self-assured, very self-confident, and very unproblematic as well. So I appreciated that. But if you specifically want to read romance for the escapism and you want to be swept away to the French countryside and attend luxurious cocktail parties, then pick up A Perfect Vintage by Chelsea Fagan. If you enjoy social commentary and witty prose and prefer a slow burn romance where the characters might not so much as even kiss, then pick up Persuasion by Jane Austen. And if you want to read good chemistry between two intelligent, mature people and also enjoy a fair amount of spice in your romance, then definitely pick up Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. If you've read any of these, you agree or disagree, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked the video, then like it. If you made it this far, you can leave me a heart emoji, maybe the heart with the arrow going through it. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.